my name is Stephanie and I'm a senior trainer here at the Georgia Aquarium. I'm working with the African penguins currently. We are in the middle of nesting season for African penguins and we've got some really special things to show you today. We're going to start out by showing you some veterinary daily checks that we are doing with our youngest chicks that range in age from about 3 days old, and then our oldest chick is about 44 days old. So why don't you guys come with me and we'll get started. All right, now that we're back here in the back side of the habitat, we're gonna get started with some of our daily health checks with one of our veterinarians, Dr. Sarah. This chick is about 3 days old. We're looking for it to gain weight every day, but in the first week of life, we really want it to double its body weight. That's something that we can use to measure to make sure that the parents are feeding it enough. Very good. So this is soliciting. So this is what a chick would do underneath the parents to let them know, hey, I'm hungry, you can feed me anytime. I know, tell them. You gotta tell them to feed you. All right, so that's all we needed to do with this chick. So we're just gonna put him back with parents and let them continue to do a great job. So this is B4, and you can see it's much bigger. It's older than the other ones. 769 grams, good job. He's doing a great job gaining weight underneath his foster parents out there. Getting bigger by the day. All right, now we're gonna go check on our older chicks. So once they reach about 21 days, they get a little bit more curious and a little bit more exploratory of their habitat out there. So we bring them back here to start their training process. This is all really excellent behavior that we're seeing. The fact that I come into the space and they're coming up to me, seeking attention. They are showing that we are a positive thing in their environment, which is awesome. It's exactly what we're looking for. We typically aim for about 30% of their body weight for their diet for each day. So we do 3 or 4 feeds a day, and we, kind of split it up and make sure they're getting that good nutrition. Since we don't know if they're males or females, we also don't know anything really about them yet. We haven't named them yet, so they're going by their numbers. So this nesting season, we've actually had 8 penguin chicks hatch. So the other 3 are still out on the habitat with their parents. They're a little bit too young to be back here, but these 5 have all graduated to this stage in their training process. And they'll start learning different behaviors, maybe how to walk into a kennel, how to walk onto a scale, allowing us to pick them up and look at their feet, different things like that that can help us take better care of them. It's great starting early because they're super motivated. They really want to eat a lot of food, and so we can really capitalize on that and get that training going as soon as possible. Around November each year at the Georgia Aquarium, we start to put out nesting material. We happen to use a dried lavender. The penguins seem to find it really reinforcing. They go and collect big mouthfuls of it and take it back to their nests or huts and make nice nests with it. And if they happen to ingest it, they can regurgitate it pretty easily. Once they make those nests, if they lay eggs and they are viable, which means they're developing into a chick, once that chick starts to hatch, we will monitor the progress of the chick underneath the parents. You might have heard me say foster parents from time to time throughout this video, and that's just because sometimes they lay 2 eggs that are viable, and it's a lot easier to raise 1 chick than 2. We've definitely utilized foster parents this year. We've utilized them in the past, and they do just as great a job as if it was the biological mom and dad. Throughout that incubation process, we're checking the egg to make sure it's developing properly. About day 35, we start looking to see if the egg has pipped, which means the beak of the chick has started to break through the shell. So in their natural environment, African penguins don't have a family unit. So once the chicks are old enough to leave the nest, mom and dad don't have anything to do with them anymore. They form their own little groups, and they won't have that bond with mom and dad anymore once they aren't feeding them any longer. It's really cool the way it works. Once parents are done raising their chicks in their natural environment, they turn right into molting season. And so to molt, you need to eat a bunch of fish to get rid of all those old feathers to get the new ones to grow in. It's really important that zoos and aquariums that house African penguins that are participating in that SSP program, or the Species Survival Plan, continue to have chicks, because their numbers are so bad in their natural environment that they are an endangered species. Now, if their numbers ever continue to get even worse, it's possible that somebody might make a plan to potentially re-release animals back out into their natural environment. Now, none of these chicks that you see here would probably ever be candidates for that because they're so used to people now. I mean, they find us reinforcing. But that's not to say that down the road, maybe they couldn't have chicks that were released just to help repopulate in South Africa and Namibia. Now, there's nothing set yet for that kind of plan, but it's something that we can think about and prepare for the future if it ever does get that bad. And so that's why keeping the genetics as clean as possible is so important. Thanks everybody for watching and learning more about our African penguin chicks here at the Georgia Aquarium. And thanks so much to BuzzFeed for hosting us.